And welcome to Control Alt Deplete, episode 37, I believe.
Maybe.
I don't even remember. I believe I
We're
changed
not
it
good
all.
at keeping track. We're not good at keeping
Yeah,
track.
I usually check YouTube first to see, and I forgot to do that. So I'm looking right now. Oh, this is episode 38. Okay, so yeah,
Okay.
there we go. Episode
Okay.
38.
There
Thought I
we
had
go.
left it. So yeah, you got to change. All right, sweet.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay.
38. We did miss last week due to my kids being sick, and I was expecting to get sick, but I never did. So at least you win some, you lose some.
Yes, and also I will not be here next week, so we will not have a podcast next week.
Yes, that
I'm
is
visiting family
correct.
for my birthday in the States, in Nevada.
Yes, yes, yes. But yeah. So let's see here. Oh yeah. Anyway, I'm your host Buckblind on the left side of your screen, and on the right side of the screen is our other host Bioshock.
Hello.
Oh, let's see. It is late. I am tired. I have got a full belly of some homemade pizza that was all right, but could have been
Which
better.
looks nice.
But yeah, it looked good.
Yeah.
Just a couple little changes, and I think would have it down. But it was fun.
What kind
Uh,
of toppings did you have?
so we tried to recreate the cream and crimson pizza, which is a extremely popular pizza here in these
Okay, I
parts.
never heard of it.
Yeah, so cream and crimson. There's a pizza place
Salty?
down in Bloomington that is called Avers, and IU their colors are they're the cream and crimson. So
Hmm.
it's the cream and crimson pizza, but it's basically
Okay.
it's got Alfredo sauce and then cheese, and then it's got a layer of like potatoes, like sliced potatoes, and it
Okay.
sounds weird, but it's so good.
That sounds pretty
Um,
good.
and they've got some garlic and bacon, and then some cheddar cheese and more and gorgonzola cheese. We used feta cheese because Walmart didn't have any gorgonzola cheese.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's really good. It's a really good pizza. Um, but I think the potatoes needed a little bit more cooking to them. But other than that, it
Yeah.
turned out pretty well. I was pretty happy with it.
That's good. Yeah, I mean, for the picture, it looked pretty good. I'm a fan of like fun kind of ideas for pizza.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, well, Avers has a lot of like exotic type pizzas and like weird flavors and stuff, but it's usually really good, pretty good pizza.
Yeah.
Anyway, in WoW news,
Oh yeah.
let's see here. All right, so we've got a few things to talk about. So first off, the weekly affixes. I've got a few more days of it. We have Fortified, Volcanic, and Spiteful. Next week, we do not know what the affixes are going to be next week.
Yes.
We'll see.
The add-on tells you some, but you really never know.
Well, it's not only that, it's a start of the season. So like at this point in the
Yeah.
season, if we still were in season 4 next week, then we would know the add-ons are correct and everything, and it shows the correct stuff. However, with it being the start of a new season, Blizzard typically
Changes up.
changes around. Yeah, she'll change around what the first week is. So
Right.
um, we won't know the pattern or what the first week's going to be until next week. So,
Oh, okay.
but season 4 does start next week, so there's that. I guess we'll touch on that real quick. Just on the 23rd, season 4 starts. Expect long maintenance probably that day. I think
Yeah.
right now the launcher is showing 7 a.m. Pacific to 11 a.m. Pacific, so that is 10 a.m. Eastern to 2 p.m. Eastern.
Just optimistic.
Yes, I would say expect that to get extended. Honestly,
Like another 6 hours.
on the launch of a season, I usually typically don't expect the it to be up until like 6 p.m. Eastern. And any time ahead of that, I consider excellent. So expect a 9-hour maintenance. Probably
Yeah.
I would expect it'll get extended. I don't think 4 hours would be enough time, but who knows? Maybe they'll have it down.
We'll surprise you.
Yep. Regardless, I'll be asleep and at work. So
and I'll be, I don't know what I'll be
You'll
doing.
be up
Probably
at some
schoolwork.
point.
I'll be doing schoolwork. Try to get as much schoolwork done as I can before I go on vacation, because I do got to do
Right.
some schoolwork on there. I just don't want to do too much.
Right.
But yeah, and carrying on. So this news is from like a week ago, week and a half ago. The Chinese servers are coming back.
Yep.
I think in that first couple days they had 2 million subscriptions,
Correct.
which
Yeah. Well,
is
2
huge.
million accounts for recovered.
Yeah,
That's
and they
awesome.
have, which is great because like when they announced that China was losing their WoW servers, I was like, that would suck.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I'd be very upset. So I can imagine that some of our players there are very happy to have them back.
Yep. Now,
'Cause,
one thing that I find very intriguing about that whole situation is I doubt that we'll ever find out, but I really want to know what caused the rift between
yeah,
um them and who at NetEase. NetEase is the company they work with over there. Because now that they're coming back to China, they're still using NetEase, the same company that they left parted ways with a couple years ago. Um, and I don't know what caused it, but I know that the NetEase employees were angry enough about it that they literally went out and destroyed the I think they had a Grom Hellscream
yeah,
statue, and they literally went out and destroyed it
yeah.
after the news broke that they were like, I don't know what happened there. Why,
Some
but I mean,
saltiness.
yeah, I feel like you have to be like
Pretty pissed off.
that's more than just a, oh, hey, we couldn't come to a contract negotiation. Like that was that
They
was
spit in your
they,
face.
yeah, they took it personally.
Yeah.
um and so I'm very curious, but again, I doubt we'll ever actually know what led to that rift.
Yeah.
um but speaking of the statue, I know they're rebuilding
Yeah.
the statue,
Yeah, they won't
and
come back. Yeah.
yeah, they're gonna put a bunch of like quotes and stuff from people, messages or whatever. I'm not exactly sure what the qualifications are for it, because they didn't have any details as far as that goes. But that's
Yeah.
kind of cool. Um, but yeah, it's good that they're coming back. More people playing WoW. I think
It's good for
people
the game.
I think people looked at the sub numbers for Dragonflight and we're like, oh, which we just had an article a few weeks ago where like it showed that the sub numbers were actually like peak Legion numbers. Like as of right now, the Dragonflight started off slow, but then
Yeah.
picked up as it went on, and people talked a lot about that. But I think what people are also forgetting is that you're we lost the entire Chinese
Yeah.
population
And we're still
before.
putting
It
up
was like
numbers.
either right when Dragonflight launched or right before it launched is when that went down. And we still have, I mean, you probably should have had 2 to 3 million more subscriptions than what those numbers show because of just losing the
Yeah.
Chinese servers.
A big
Uh,
fan base. I know
oh
WoW's
yeah,
pretty big over there.
yes, they had their not appropriately copyright licensed WoW theme park that they had there for a while that eventually got shut down, I believe.
I did not
So,
know that.
yes, they had a WoW themed amusement park there. Um, I'm pretty sure it was a WoW theme. I believe it was World of Warcraft theme,
That'd be
but
cool.
it wasn't like an official Blizzard thing. It was just
Yeah.
some China just said we're doing it, and licensing be damned. But no, that would be it's I'm just glad that they're getting back, because I don't know how I would handle it if suddenly, America was just like,
No more
we're
servers.
no more, yeah, no more World of Warcraft. Um, yeah, that'd be a sad life.
Yeah.
Um, in other news, little small tidbit of piece of information here. Nothing, not really anything big. I don't know if there's really anything will cover with this going forward or not. Highly unlikely. But Alpha did come out, so for War Within, so no big deal. It's whatever.
Yeah. I've,
Yeah.
I've watched a lot of gameplay of Alpha now. It's some interesting stuff.
Yes.
I think
No, we will
one thing.
definitely be covering a lot of that in the coming weeks, obviously.
Yeah. Before we jump into the other hero towns, I just want to say, From a lot of the stuff I've seen about some of the hero talents, people said were kind of mid or like mediocre, and people actually getting to test them are seeing like some of these specs people that were sleeping on are actually pretty good.
Right.
Um, just like that one that I sent you earlier, the Sand Lane one, when Yoda was soloing a heroic or mythic dungeon by himself as a Blood Death Knight. It was just the damage was insane. And obviously the survivability of a Death Knight's crazy as it is, but
Right. Yeah.
it was just nice to see like it's kind of a surprise because everyone's like, oh, like 3 mage specs, the Evoker specs, the Death Knight specs, and you got ones like priest that's like showing up pretty big, monks decent, like some ones that people kind of slept on are kind of popping, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So Alpha is out. With the release of Alpha, I know there's some class reworks on a couple of things, some hero talent reworks on a couple of things and whatnot.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
but we'll be covering all that in the upcoming weeks. Um, there's a lot of information, just information overload right now. I know my
Yeah.
phone was going off like crazy on Wednesday whenever Alpha came out, and every five
Yes.
minutes was a new Wowhead
Everybody.
article covering something.
Yeah. It's crazy. Like you went on YouTube that day, there's videos starting. Like when I went on YouTube, it was about 4 hours after they came up. And there was just videos after video. It's like posted 4 hours ago, posted 4 hours ago, posted 4 hours ago. It's just all these people playing their classes, putting content out. It's great to see, but
Right.
yeah, it was a lot of information.
But yeah, so with Alpha being out, there's a lot of testing, which is good. We can get some answers. Like I know we talked about the Death Knight talents a couple episodes ago.
Yeah.
One of the things that seems to be happening is it's stacking very, very quickly. Even on single
Reaper's Mark?
target, it seems. Yes, Reaper's Mark is
Yes.
stacking very quickly,
Yeah.
even on single target.
Yes.
So I'm not sure exactly what is causing on single target, but it does sound like AOE stuff does work. Um,
But
that's a
as far as we know right
positive.
now, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, they'll have a lot more answers to questions that we had and stuff now that we have Alpha out.
Yeah.
One thing to touch on is that with Alpha being out right now, my guess is that we will likely see Beta either the end of May, like the very, very end of May, or the first couple weeks of June. And I'm thinking probably first couple weeks of June is most likely. Um,
Yeah, that sounds about right.
which, based off that timeline, if we're looking at the timeline for the Dragonflight Alpha and Beta, which was the shortest Alpha and Beta any of the expansions have had so far, um, and it showed.
Yeah.
But if we're basing off of that timeline, that means that we are currently looking at a September or October launch for the War Within, which is that's about when I was expecting it to launch. It's
Yeah.
September or October. I've been saying that for several months now, I think. Um,
Yeah.
but
Um,
go ahead.
Before we hop into hero talents, I was going to point out because it just came to my mind. If you didn't know already, the Drakthir will be playable for other classes, probably in the
Yes.
expansion at some point or on release. I don't know what
Yeah,
they said.
from what I remember reading, it sounded like it's not going to be right away, but they said early in the expansion.
Okay.
So
So
perhaps it is something that will be unlocked like at the little point, like 11.0.5 patch
yeah,
or 11.1 or something.
yeah.
Hard to say exactly when. Yeah, I don't think Ian gave any specifics, but I also haven't looked all the way through the interview.
I
But
I I did see somebody in the forums like that's not fair because the Drakthir's passive is the 75% more armor or whatever it was. I was like, no, it's not. That's the Evoker
yeah.
passive talent. People was confused, but yeah, it's
If a racial ability gave 75% more armor, that would be 1,000 times more powerful than any other racial ability. So yeah.
oh by far, yeah. I don't know if it's 75%. I don't remember the exact number, but it is a decent amount of armor, and it's
It's
just
a
for
good
Evokers.
chunk. Yeah, it's a good chunk. Um, but yeah, so yep, we get the evokers. They will have dynamic flying and static flying, so that's gonna be
That
cool.
is Druid as well. I saw some people in the beta alpha using the Druid flying in
Yeah.
dragon riding. Pretty cool too.
Well, we knew that the druid already had the static. That was the thing with the evoker. People weren't sure if evoker would have
Right.
static flying with their soar, and it looks like it will have that, which is good. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of excitement right now because of Alpha coming out. We're learning so many new things. Again, we will start covering it all in the next episode. Not tonight, just because we had so much information and only a couple days to try to figure out what we want to go on. So we just kind of said, all right, we got a couple weeks after, so we'll figure it out then and see what we want to go and cover. And then we'll touch base on stuff.
Yeah.
But for now, we're going to be talking about hero talents, continuing that. We've already covered Prot Paladins, Rep Paladin. We've covered a couple of the Paladin ones. We've covered
Demon Hunter.
Yep, the Aldrachi
DK,
Reaver.
Mage.
Yep.
We haven't covered Sun Fury, but that one, we'll get to that eventually.
Yep, yep. So today we are covering, we're only doing 3 today, but we are going to be covering the monk trees. As we finally got, with the release of Alpha, we got the last monk hero tree. Otherwise, y'all were going to be getting some Prot Warrior stuff from me. But we got the last monk tree. So if you want to take it away with the Conduit of the Celestials.
That name is just so cool.
It is pretty cool.
Anyways, so Conduit of the Celestials is a Mistweaver Windwalker tree. It's actually quite a good mix of like damage healing, so it's not like, it doesn't feel too bad for like, or one-sided to a certain spec. But if you want to go through it with me so you can kind of get your reaction to it as well.
Yep.
I'm going to say this now because I thought it was hilarious. The Celestial Conduit, the very first node, the channeling ability, right now is like killing people in 2-3 seconds in PvP.
Nice.
It's just 100-0ing. It's kind of funny because people are using it in duels and just killing someone in like 2 seconds, and it's funny. But that will get changed, don't worry. If you're scared they're gonna just destroy you, it's gonna get changed for sure. The ability itself is pretty cool because it's like you channel a Celestial for like 4 seconds and it heals or does damage up to 5 people. It's a 1.5 minute cooldown and it can be channeled while moving. But if you use our ability while channeling, it cancels the channel, which is kind of obvious. The healing and the damage increased by 6% per target up to 30%, which is like a nice little bit of damage. Going down the left side of the tree, we have Temple Training. So Mistweaver, the healing of Alchemist and Vivifies increased by 10%. And for Windwalker, the Fist of Fury and Spinning Crank Kick deal 10% more damage. Or Zuen's Guidance, which is teaching to the monastery has a 15% chance to refund a charge when consumed, and the damage to Tiger Palm is increased by 30%. So teaching to the monastery is when you use Tiger Palm, it allows your Blackout Kick to strike 1 additional time. So if you didn't know what that was,
Gotcha.
Yeah, because when you Tiger Palm, you get you make your next Blackout Kick hit like twice or whatever. But you can, there's like I won't get into it very much. We'll get into it eventually, but the Windwalker Rework, one of the talents is to increase charges, so you get more Blackout Kick procs. It's interesting.
Gotcha. I feel like off the top of my head, I would be taking Temple Training for Windwalker just for Mythic Plus purposes.
Yes. Oh, for sure, yeah.
That's 10% more Fist of Fury and Spinning Crane Kick. That sounds beautiful.
Yes. Kind of off topic again towards that Windwalker Rework. The Teachings of the Monastery, the buff, you get like max stacks when you use, I think, I don't know if it's Whirling Dragon Punch or Thunder Fist. I think one of those ones gives you like 6 stacks of the Teachings of the Monastery, so it's not really needed, that talent, really. And Tiger Palm damage is so underwhelming that 30% is really not going to do much. So yeah, you're right. Temple Training definitely is the go-to. Next is Heart of the Jade Serpent. For Mistweaver, consuming 8 stacks of Shailen's Gift causes Yulong to decrease the cooldown time of your Renewing Mist, Rising Sun Kick, Life Cocoon, and Thunder Focus Tea by 100% for 8 seconds. And for Windwalker, consuming 30 Chi causes Yulong to decrease the cooldown time of your Rising Sun Kick, Fist of Fury, Strike the Wind Lord, and Whirling Dragon Punch by 100% for 8 seconds. That's pretty good. You probably get like 3 Rising Sun Kicks off that 8-second window then.
Yeah.
And like I said, it just fits so well for the rework, but there's a lot of stuff that'll help with that damage as well. Moving on, we have Nazao's Protection. Fortify and Brew grants an absorb shield for 25% of your maximum health. Which is it's pretty good defensive.
Yeah, definitely.
Or you have Jade Sanctuary. You heal for 10% of your maximum health instantly when you activate a Celestial Conduit and receive 15% less damage for its duration. This effect lingers for an additional 8 seconds after a Celestial Conduit ends. So I'll have to go to the last talent to make that more sense. So it's called Unity Within. So you use Celestial Conduit, it can be recast once again for a full duration. And then it calls upon all the August Celestials to assist you at 200% effectiveness. So like Unity Within is automatic cast and Celestial Conduit ends if it's not used before expiration. So there's like, I think when you use like this Celestial Conduit, you get like some of these Celestials that help you out in combat. It seems kind of similar to the Riders of the Apocalypse for the Death Knight. Is kind of the vibe I'm getting.
Yeah, I don't think that you get a Celestial. I think it just empowers you.
Buff.
Yeah. I don't think you'll get like an actual NPC like the DK does.
I don't think so either.
But that's still very, very interesting there, just having it be able to give you a double the amount of output from Celestial Conduit.
Yeah. And
that's pretty, and the fact that it automatically will do it, it makes it so you don't have to think about it either.
Yeah. Yeah, the ability to cast Celestial Conduit twice, because it's already doing so much damage. I'm assuming it's going to do big damage in PvE and probably get nerfed a little bit in PvP, but be able to cast it twice is kind of crazy. And it's a really strong defensive for a healer too, if you really need to pump up big healing.
Yeah.
Down the middle row, we have Courage the White Tiger. I'm going to go to the Windwalker since I don't really care about Mistweaver. Tiger Palm has a 15% chance to cause Zuen to claw your target for physical damage, killing a nearby ally for 100% of the damage done. Chance increased while Invoke Zuen the White Tiger is active.
And it's basically the same thing for Mistweaver, other than it also can proc on Vivify, and it heals them for 200% instead of 100% damage done.
Okay. That's
other than that,
good.
It's pretty much the same thing.
Yeah. Moving on, we have Strength of the Black Ox. For Windwalker, after Zuen assists you, like it did in the previous one, Courage the White Tiger, that talent feeds in this one. After Zuen assists you, your next Blackout Kick causes Nizao to stomp at your target's location, dealing damage to nearby enemies, damage reduced beyond 5 targets. That's some more Celestial kind of stuff. You have like Black Ox, you have the White Tiger, pretty cool.
Yep. And for Mistweaver, it's kind of the same, but your next Enveloper's Mist cast time is reduced by 50%. And causes Nizao to grant an Absorb Shield to 5 nearby allies for 5% of your maximum health.
Okay. Small little defensives, still nice. We have Chi-Ji Swiftness, so your movement speed is increased by 25% during Celestial Conduit and for 3 seconds after being assisted by any Celestial. So you get that Swiftness even when you proc Strength of the Black Ox, it seems. Or you have the White Tiger up. Like, the movement speed's nice. I mean, it's not a choice note, so you are going to get it for sure. So, I mean, the speed's nice. 25% is decent. In the last 3 on the right, we have Restore Balance. For Mistweaver, gain Refreshing Jade Wind while Chi-Ji the Red Crane or Yulon the Jade Serpent is active. And for Windwalker, gain a Rushing Jade Wind while Zuen the White Tiger is active. That's Rushing Jade Wind is like the if I'm remembering, it's the talent where you just spend a chi and you get that kind of tornado around you.
Yeah.
But you could do other attacks while it's channeling, I believe.
Does it cost a chi for Windwalker?
Yeah, it's 1 chi.
Okay. Yeah, it's not a channel. It's just it's kind of like Remorseless Winter for DKs. It just does AOE damage. Yeah, we use that all the time for as Brewmaster.
Yeah, it's one chi for Windwalker, and just how the Windwalker rework looked. There's a lot of really nice buffs to spawning like a Russian Jade Wind, so it kind of feeds into the new spec as well, which is kind of cool. Next is
So
the
it
next.
uses a chi.
Yeah,
Huh. Yeah, Brewmaster, it doesn't use anything. It's just free.
yeah. Because I was actually looking at it today when I was playing a little bit earlier. I was looking at the live talents right now compared to the talents coming out next expansion, and one of them was the change to the Jade Wind, and the one on live is one chi.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And then for Mistweaver, the restore balance, you gain refreshing Jade Wind
Yeah.
while the Red Crane or Yulon the Jade Serpent is active, and refreshing Jade Winds duration is increased by 15 seconds. I don't know what
Um,
refreshing Jade Winds is, but I'm guessing it's the same thing as rushing Jade Wind. It just heals people, probably.
yeah, probably. I think you're right. Yeah, I don't know much about Mistweaver, but that sounds right. Yeah, for Windwalker, rushing you wind duration increased by 4 seconds. That's actually huge.
Yes.
4 more seconds because it only lasts like 5 seconds right now. It's like almost double that. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, Brewmaster, it lasts for like 8 seconds.
Yeah, I think I was like again. I was looking at. I thought it was like 5.7 or something weird like that for me. Something weird. I think it scales with haste. Maybe I don't know. Anyways, you have Flight of the Red Crane. For Windwalker, Rushing Jade Wind and Spinning Crane Kick have a chance to cause Chi-Ji to quickly rush to your five targets, doing physical damage to each target struck. That's more AoE. And there's more damage to Rushing Jade Wind and your Spinning Crane Kick. And for Mistweaver, it's the same thing, except for
This healing.
the Chi-Ji does the healing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the very last talent here, choice node is Inner Compass. You switch between alignments after August Celestial assists you. Increase your corresponding secondary stat by 3%. Crane stance is haste, so 3% haste. Tiger stance is 3% crit. Ox stance is 3% versatility. And Serpent stance is 3% mastery, which is kind of cool. You don't really get to. I mean, you could, but I don't think you want to sit on a certain celestial and not use your celestial conduit. I'm pretty sure you use it on cooldown, but it's still it's a little it's definitely cool. It's decent too. 3% is not bad. Um, and then the other node you can pick between is casting Jadefire Stomp, increase the damage of your next Rising Sun Kick by 30%, or healing of your next Vivify by 50%. This effect can only activate once every 8 seconds. Jadefire Stomp.
Um,
Was,
that would
was that one?
be the Night Fae thing, right?
That's what I thought. I thought it was
Phalanx
called
Stomp.
Phalanx
It
Stomp.
is, but they're changing it to make it more
Oh, right.
monk.
Jadefire. You're
Yeah.
right. You're right. I honestly think August Dynasty is better. That 30% damage on a Rising Sun Kick every 8 seconds. I like that more than the 3% stat. Because, like, if you get, like, well, like, with the rework, haste is really big for monks. But if you're, like, stuck with, like, master, I mean, all the stats are pretty good. I don't know. You have to probably test it, to be honest.
Now, see, I'm curious though, because if Jadefire Stomp is the Night Fae ability, that thing's like what, a 30-second cooldown, isn't it?
It's like 20, I think it's like 25 seconds, but when you're inside of it attacking, you have a chance to reset it.
Gotcha. Okay.
So it actually, the proc's actually quite high. Like, you can keep it up a lot. You don't really use it in PvE right now, but I use it in PvP and the proc rate's the same. If I throw it down and fighting somebody on it, it procs all the time. So I don't know. Like I said, I'll have to see. I mean, they both sound good. Their Compass sounds pretty good. The passive 3% buffs. But like the August Dynasty, like the damage to Rising Sun Kick by 30% is kind of big. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see with testing.
Yeah, no, I mean it doesn't seem super impressive, that tree, to me. Like, I'm not super impressed with it. It doesn't seem bad. I'm not super impressed with it. It doesn't make me, that tree does not make me go, ooh, I really want to play Windwalker.
I personally like it. I like Shadowpan too. I like the Celestial one. I like Shadowpan one. I don't know which one's better. Um, well, like me and you will cover Shadowpan here in a second, but There's like watching somebody play it, testing Shadow Pen. It was kind of cool. It's a lot more passive gameplay to it, but
Yeah.
it's got some really good talent.
I do find it interesting though that it's one of the few trees that has 4 choice nodes instead of 3.
Bro.
But
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, it's 4. I didn't even realize that. You're right. This is a lot of choice.
Yes. So the next tree we are covering this is one I was curious to see how it plays out. But it's Master of Harmony, and this is the Brewmaster and Mistweaver tree. The only other tank and healer tree is the Lightsmith one for paladins. We all saw how that one worked out, so I'm curious to see. I know just from scanning it over, this one already looked better than the Lightsmith one. But let's go through it and find out.
Yeah.
So right off the bat, the first primary key theme of it is Aspect of Harmony, which for Brewmaster you store vitality from 20% of your damage dealt. You store vitality from 20% of your damage dealt and 10% of your healing. For 10 seconds after casting Celestial Brew, which is our main cooldown, our main defensive, it's like a 40-second cooldown. Your spells and abilities draw upon the stored vitality to deal 25% additional damage over 8 seconds. And for Mistweaver, it similarly stores vitality from 10% of your damage dealt and 20% of your healing, so it's flip-flopped there. And for 10 seconds after casting Thunder Focus Tea, your spells and abilities draw upon the stored vitality to deal 25% additional healing over 8 seconds. Then, so we go over to the left side here. Manifestation. Chi Burst and Chi Wave deal 100% increased damage and healing, which is kind of nice. I know as a Brewmaster, I use Chi Wave occasionally. I really use it more whenever there's like some group-wide damage coming out. It doesn't do much healing, but it's a little bit of healing, you know?
Yep. But back in Mop, Chi Wave was a huge heal.
Oh,
For
yes.
Windwalker.
Yep. I remember
it. Was crazy. It was big heals.
Yep.
Not this for Windwalkers. I like the Chi Wave's healing.
And it might still be decent healing for Mistweaver. I don't know. I just know from a Brewmaster perspective, it doesn't do much healing, but it's there. It's something. So the next choice on the left side is either Tiger's Vigor or Roar from the Heavens. So Tiger's Vigor, casting Tiger's Lust, reduces the remaining cooldown on roll by 5 seconds, which is really nice.
Yeah.
That's beautiful for speedrunning. Roar from the Heavens, Tiger Lust grants 20% speed up to 2 allies near its target. So that's not bad. It would be interesting. That might be better in Mythic Plus group setting. Obviously, for speedrunning, Tiger's Vigor is the only way you're gonna go there. No one cares about getting other people's speed when it comes to speedrunning. So.
Yeah.
Overwhelming Focus is the next talent down there. Rising Sun Kick, Blackout Kick, and Tiger Palm damage enemies in a line through their primary target.
Oh, that's cool.
So, which I like and dislike that thing because it makes it so you really want to be targeting like a mob that's in melee range but is like farther away than the other mobs, and just that's when you're naturally targeting stuff, that's just not how the targeting system works. It naturally targets the closest enemy to you. I would much rather that instead of being a line through the primary, now maybe it does work like this. I would rather it be just like it's a line that has a certain range, 10-yard range or whatever, and it's just pointed at the primary target. And maybe that's what this is. The way that the tooltip reads makes me think that it is a line going from you to the primary target, and anything in between will get hit. But
right.
I don't know. That doesn't make sense mechanically. Mechanically, it makes more sense to have it be a line that goes out a certain range, just pointed at that target. And so that'd be awesome because that's a decent increase to AOE damage.
All your spells too.
Yeah, I don't. Right now, I don't use Tiger Palm typically because I like to run the other talent that takes away Tiger Palm and replaces it. But Rising Sun Kick does a single target that makes it AoE. Blackout Kick hits 3 targets, but I'm assuming it would still only go to your primary target and not the 3 targets that it hits.
Be nuts, yeah.
But that's still, I mean, I like that talent a lot.
Yeah.
All right, so going to the top of the middle here. Purified Spirit is a talent. You get a choice node here. It's Purified Spirit or Harmonic Gambit. So for Brewmaster, Purified Spirit, when Aspect of Harmony ends, any remaining vitality is released as damage over 8 seconds, split among nearby targets. So that's really nice because then you have just extra damage that is going out. And you're not gonna lose damage with the Aspect of Harmony. So that's a nice little AoE split damage. Same thing for Mistweaver, except it works as healing instead of damage. Or you can choose Harmonic Gambit. So for Brewmaster, during Aspect of Harmony, Expel Harm and Vivify withdraw Vitality to heal. Mistweaver, during Aspect of Harmony, Rising Sun Kick, Blackout Kick, and Tiger Palm also withdraw Vitality to damage enemies. So I feel like for tanks, you're definitely going to have Purified Spirit there because you don't need extra healing typically. Typically, you're all right. Yeah. Mistweaver, I could see people, especially on Mythic Plus, picking Harmonic Gambit because again, getting the damage, but it also just probably that's more situational than anything than the Brewmaster choice. Brewmaster, you're almost always going to take Purified Spirit there. But with Mistweaver, if it's a high damage encounter, then you might take the Purified Spirit to get the extra healing. But I think for the most part, I would expect people to be taking Harmonic Gambit there for Mistweaver.
Yeah.
Because damage is number 1 for Mythic Plus. Whether you're a healer, tank, or DPS. Alright, so the middle talent, very middle, is Endless Drought. Or Drought. Brewmaster gives Celestial Brew 1 additional charge, and Mistweaver gives Thunder Focus Tea an additional charge. Pretty straightforward. Nice. Which I actually really like that as Brewmaster, having that extra charge.
Yeah.
It's definitely nice to have. So then the final one for the middle tree is choice between Path of Resurgence, which causes Chi Burst to increase vitality stored by 25% for 10 seconds. And then Way of 1,000 Strikes, which Rising Sun Kick, Blackout Kick, and Tiger Palm contribute 50% additional vitality. I definitely would say Way of 1,000 Strikes because Chi Burst just isn't something that we use.
He's gonna say, yeah, it says Chi Burst. You have to pick between Chi Burst or Chi Wave for the other talent. With Manifestation, you choose Chi Wave, and you can't run Path of Resurgence.
You don't choose between Chi Burst.
I thought you said choose between Chi Burst and Chi Wave.
No, it just says that Chi Burst and Chi Wave deal 100% increased damage and healing. Now your actual like spec talent tree or class talent tree, I think it's the class tree, you do choose between Chi Burst or Chi Wave on that.
That's what I was saying though. That's what I meant.
Yeah. I mean, again, that's what I'm saying. Like, so I'm looking at it's going to Way of 1,000 Strikes is probably what you're always going to pick here.
Yeah.
Even if you are using Chi Burst, I just don't see any reason to use anything but Way of 1,000 Strikes. Yeah, Blackout Kick, Tiger Palm, and Rising Sun Kick are all going to do much more damage. Especially with Blackout Kick hitting 3 targets as a tank, and then if they're all getting out of line that can do AoE damage as well, that's just way stronger.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see maybe if Path of Resurgence, maybe they change that to where it's Chi Burst and Chi Wave. But either way, I honestly think they need to change that because you don't use those abilities.
Right.
A healer, I don't know. Healers might use Chi Burst. I don't know. But I know it's tanks, you don't ever use Chi Burst, and you hardly use Chi Wave either. So I would say that is something they should probably look at and consider changing. Anyway, so going to the right side of the tree, the first talent on here is Balanced Stratagem. Casting a physical spell or ability increases the damage and healing of your next fire or nature spell or ability by 5% and vice versa. Stacks up to 5 times, so you could possibly make it go 25%. So that's not bad. And then for the next talent, you have a choice between Mantra of Purity or Mantra of Tenacity. For Purity, for Brewmaster, Purifying Brew removes 10% additional stagger and causes you to absorb up to some incoming stagger. Does it very, very vague there. Mistweaver, when cast on yourself, your single target healing spells heal for 10% more and grant a heal over 15 seconds.
This Mantra of Tenacity is crazy.
The what?
This Mantra of Tenacity, the other choice, is pretty crazy.
So Brewmaster, Fortifying Brew applies a Chi Cocoon, and Mistweaver, Fortifying Brew grants 20% stagger. I mean, it's kind of meh.
It's a mad shield, though.
Yeah, but Fortifying Brew is like a 6-minute cooldown. So that's not really. I mean, it's a life-saving thing potentially. But yeah, I don't know. I would definitely be taking Purity there over Tenacity because you're gonna get a lot more out of it. I could see if you're in a raid encounter and progression, and as a Brewmaster, you need somebody to soak some, hefty ability. You need your tank to soak it. Maybe then you take Tenacity to be able just to take that big hit. But yeah, I don't know that I would want Tenacity over Purity. Definitely not in dungeons. See, for the final talent on the right side is Clarity of Purpose. For Brewmaster, casting Purifying Brew stores Vitality increase based on staggering level, so that's interesting. Just boosting up that extra damage. And Mistweaver, casting Vivify stores Vitality increased based on your recent Gust of Mist, whatever that is. Don't know as a Mistweaver.
It's like a passive healing, I believe, from one of their abilities.
And the final talent, the capstone talent, is Resonance. So for Brewmaster, when Aspect of Harmony deals damage, it has a chance to spread to a nearby enemy. When you directly attack an affected target, it has a chance to intensify. For Mistweaver, it's when Aspect of Harmony heals, it has a chance to spread to a nearby ally, and when you directly heal that target, it increases the intensity, or has a chance to intensify. Targets damaged or healed by your Aspect of Harmony take 10% increased damage or healing from you. Now, how long does that last for? Is it just during Aspect of Harmony? I don't know. That's doesn't say. Is it just permanent for the rest of the encounter? I don't know. Yeah, I think the chance to intensify. This is the things where it's really annoying. Like, what does that mean? Just it has a chance to intensify. Does that mean it's going to get, more critical chance? Is it more damage? If so, how much more damage is it? Like, yeah, it doesn't really say anything on there.
Yeah.
But no, I think overall my thoughts on it are, it's not amazing, but it's definitely, I think it's viable. I will see here in a minute compared to the Shadow Pantry whether or not it's viable against that, but it's definitely better than the Lightsmith tree for Paladin. Because your core ability is actually based off doing some damage. But it sounds like it's more about storing up a percentage of your damage, and then over a window of time, you're gonna be doing extra damage. So it's nice because you can kind of play around that window. But I also kind of question it because I never have liked classes where it's like, all right, every minute you have a 10-second window to do a burst amount of damage, and then after that you're just kind of back to normal. I don't really like that play style a whole lot. And this definitely feeds into that play style, but I do think like it's going to produce more damage than the Lightsmith tree. I'm still not super impressed with it, but I think it's, whereas the Lightsmith tree needs a complete and total rework. Take the Lightsmith tree, throw it in the trash, and start over. This one, I don't think it needs a rework. I think it needs some tweaks. Yeah, but I don't think it necessarily needs a rework. I think it's pretty all right, especially the overwhelming force talent. I really like that. Um, yeah, I feel like it's pretty good. Hi there. Top down.
Yes. All right.
Shadow Pan.
We're gonna cover that one together.
Yes.
You play Mashup and Walker, get some input from both.
Right.
Um,
And I think just honestly, I feel like Shadow Pan is probably still going to be the go-to for Brewmaster tanks, just
would
because
be.
I'm guessing there's going to be a lot more damage, but we'll see here.
Yeah.
So go ahead and take us to that first talent there.
First talent. Okay. First node is Overwhelming Flurry. My bad. So you deal damage equal to 10% of your maximum health. It generates a flurry charge. For each 400 energy you spend, unleash all flurry charges as flurry strikes, dealing physical damage per charge. It's very passive. You don't have to really think about it. You stack up that it goes up to 10 stacks, I believe, right now. So doing 100% of your health is very easy to do as a Windwalker, and I'm assuming as a Brewmaster as well if you're doing a lot of AoE. Because it stacks off AoE.
Yeah,
Because like
I feel
one,
I feel like it's kind of. I mean, I don't know. I'm looking at the space off that talent. What I'm seeing there, it's definitely going to be easier for Windwalker because you have less health and you do a lot more damage. So you're going to build it up way faster than a Brewmaster will. My only concern as Brewmaster, though, is more so the 400 energy you spent. Because honestly, I don't. It could be maybe I just play Brewmaster wrong. I don't feel like we spend hardly any energy. Because the only things that we have that spend energy are Keg Smash and Spinning Crane Kick. Nothing else spends energy, so like I don't know. That kind of seems like it may not be great.
Yeah, like well, I know this is just Windwalker point of view, but as a Windwalker, you can get your 10 stacks in one Fist of Fury for the with how many targets you fight.
Nice, yeah.
The only thing you end up waiting on is spending 400 energy. It takes like I was thinking like 20-25 seconds to do that.
Yeah, because what does
roughly.
Windwalker spend energy on? Is it just Tiger Palm and
Tiger Palm, Fist of Fury, Strike
Fist of
the
Fury
Windlord?
costs energy? I thought Fist of Fury is just combo points.
No, you might be right. I'd have to check. I don't remember, but I do know like it stacks up quick. Yeah, but it takes a while to get those 400 energy spent. I'd have to look. Actually, I'm drawing a blank right now on what they spend their energy on. I know Tiger Palm for sure. I thought that like their kind of combo point spenders cost some energy as well. Like
They might. It's very possible. I don't play enough Windwalker to know off the top of my head, but I was thinking it was more of your combo build or your point builders are your energy spenders. I felt like, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm drawing a blank. I've been playing my monk a lot last couple days. I do know.
It's all good. I'm checking.
Okay, yeah. From what I've seen, Overwhelming Flurry is easy to stack up for Windwalker. I haven't seen any Brewmasters play it yet. The thing you wait on is the 400 energy spent. It's a very passive playstyle. Not a lot changes in your rotation, obviously.
It's always a good thing. At least I like that.
Yeah, it's we'll get to it. I think the Wisdom of Wall or whatever, or what I don't remember what it's called. We'll get there though. It makes sure Flurry has like a really cool effect when it goes off. It looks pretty cool, but yeah.
All right. So then on the first talent on the left, choose between Pride of Pandaria and High Impact. So Pride of Pandaria, flurry strikes have a 15% additional chance to critically strike. That's nice right there. And then High Impact, enemies who die within 5 seconds of being damaged by a flurry strike explode, dealing damage to uncontrolled enemies within 8 yards. So right off the bat, that High Impact has potential for massive damage. However, with Overwhelming Flurry being so passive, that is going to be
True.
very RNG. Like when you can get it to pop off, like in low keys, you're probably going to be able to get some decent amount off of that. In high keys, I don't know that you're going to be able to time that out well enough to do
Yeah.
that.
I'm
I
I
feel
think
like Pride of Pandaria is going to be the route to go there.
my question is, and we'll have to see it. Maybe it's an alpha or beta, whoever, whatever. If you can stop collecting flurry stacks or spending your energy to proc the flurry strikes ever, and you can hold on to it. Not that you want to. I'm just curious to know if it's like a buff that runs out of time between packs or something. I'm
Right.
not sure how that works. I know for Druid, when they want to get their Incarn, they have that proc after spending a certain amount of energy, whatever they use, astral power. It stacks up, and then you can have like a weak core that tracks it, and it'll tell you when you're getting close to popping your Incarn. I'm wondering if you could do the same thing similar to that. Not that it'd be harder to do because then you have to stop attacking if you're like trying to save it, which kind of suck. But I'm just curious to know if it's like a timer, it's gonna run out, or it just keeps stacking, just stays permanent. I don't know.
Yeah. So, real quick, just touch back on the
Yep.
energy spending. Currently, this is Dragonflight, so maybe it changes going forward. But currently, the only things that Windwalker has that even spends energy is Tiger Palm, Expel Harm, and Detox.
That's rough.
Yeah. And now Tiger Palm is 50 energy. So that's 8 Tiger Palms basically.
Yeah, you don't use Tiger Palm that often.
Yeah. So I don't, because even Chi Burst doesn't cost energy. Fist
Does
of
Rushing
Fury is
Jade
just
win, or just one Chi?
Rushing Jade Win. I don't have that talented, so let me see. Rushing Jade Win is just 1 Chi.
Okay. Yeah, for some reason I thought like Blackout and Starting Sun Kick, but I guess not.
Yeah,
That
no,
makes
Blackout Kick is 1 Chi. Rising Sun Kick's 2 Chi. None of them spend energy. It's just Tiger Palm. And like I said, Expel Harm and Detox, but I mean, you're not typically going to use those. I mean, Expel Harm you might use quite often just to generate Chi, but Detox you're not going to use that. Like, it's part of a
that makes
rotation.
hearing that brings down Shadowpan in my opinion lower than I was gonna put it at. 400
Yeah.
energy, the 8 Tiger Palms. You have
Like,
to really focus Tiger Palms, which is like. But that being said, that means you could potentially save the buff for a big pull, and then
true.
go on. I don't know.